Membership means value.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the phone today, Joey Long, is the director of the DeWitt County Museum in C.H. Moore Homestead. Good morning, Joey. How are you?
Wonderful, Seth. Good morning to you, everyone listening in today.
Well, thanks for making time for us as always. Good to have you on the program, Joey. And I know that you're doing a big flooring project there inside the museum. I would be really curious what that looks like, to be quite honest with you. But also, I know you're real excited because opening day for the new season of the museum is right around the corner, and just excited to put that out there for folks to see. How about those two things?
Yeah, so the museum is closed January, February, and March, closed for tours, but that does not mean that we aren't busy. We're very busy during that time. In fact, that's when we take on some of our biggest projects. And while we have several projects going on right now, the biggest of the big would be the flooring project. So both the music room and the formal parlor have been refloored. We had craftsmen come in. They're from the Arthur area. They laid new lumber on top of what was there before. It's just beautiful. They made sure that it's, like the materials that were used were period appropriate, the type of material that would have been used during Mr. Moore's time in the home, which would have been in the 1880s through 1901. The pattern, the way that they laid it, everything is just beautiful. So they've been working on that for a few weeks now, preparing the bottom floor and then putting in the underlayment and then, laying this intricate design down onto the floors. And then, of course, you have the many phases of sanding and whatnot. And then yesterday, they were able to get the stain on the floor. So, of course, it changed dramatically, yesterday with them applying that stain. And then it looks like we have maybe another few days of some protective coating on the top, and they'll be done with that project.
Wow, amazing stuff. And of course, I know that we've talked about this in the past, but really, and I know you mentioned it there, Joey, but really trying to keep the integrity of the original, the home the way it was originally. Was it difficult to bid this out and not only bid it out, but find the material you needed for this?
Yes, and yes. So of course, as you said, we want to make sure that what we put down is true to the period. And so what is used now is not necessarily what was used then, as far as the thickness or the width of the planks and whatnot, or even the designs that would have been in favor, what would have been fashionable during Mr. Moore's time at the home obviously isn't what they're putting in homes so much today, So they did take their time. The board considered it very carefully in selecting the right person with the right skills. And then, of course, yes, they have to figure into that, what the dollar cost is to that, in balance with keeping it something that would be appropriate for the home, if you know what I mean. And I think that they just absolutely knocked it out of the park. So, the skill and talent of these craftsmen who came in and did this job is just amazing. The lumber, which they used, red oak and Brazilian cherry. So two different types of wood used in the floor, which is appropriate. Two of the floors, pattern floors that we have in the house that are original, different types of wood were used in those floors as well. So it brings out the different colors. It allows for different patterns, and they kept that in mind when the board chose what floor to put down as far as the pattern.
Sure.
And did a really good job. The lumber was sourced from Ohio, because, it's not something that you just run to Lowe's or Menards and pick up. So they really put a lot of thought into it, carefully considered everything, and the result is just stunning. When best practices for a historic house museum, if you're going to make a big change, something like this, the rule of thumb is to make sure that whatever change you make to the home, of course, that it fits to the period of the house, but also that investment of time and money and whatnot will last for at least 100 years. And they certainly can be assured that this beautiful floor will last another 100 years. So it's an amazing thing that they've accomplished here.
Is there anything about the home, whether it's this flooring project, Joey, or just the home in general, that's really kind of maybe unique to the time, and even at that time was very, special and rare? Anything like that come to mind about the home?
Oh, absolutely. So the first thing that comes to my mind there, Seth, would be the library. People just, when you're doing a tour, when they walk into the library with me, they look ahead and they look up and they just gape. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And, I get a lot of people in that their hobby is exploring historic houses. They've been to historic houses all over the country. And I have not had one person say they've seen a library like ours. It's just amazing. It's because of how the room is designed. I don't know how many people have been in to see the library. If you haven't, I certainly encourage you to come and take a peek. But it's a 2-story arrangement. However, not floor above floor, but there's the main floor, and then there's an upper gallery. And so it's a two-level library, but with a cutout and a balcony up around the top. But it's utilized as library book space. He had bookshelves up there, probably a reading nook up there and whatnot. So that is certainly something that you don't often see. And it certainly sets this house apart. We actually have a lot of people that hear about that one room, the library, and they come to tour the house just to see the library.
Interesting. Joey Long, director of the DeWitt County Museum and C.H. Moore Homestead, our guest on the phone for today. So, and Joey, we mentioned you can come out opening when the museum reopens. I think you said April, if I'm not mistaken, and check out the new floor and, of course, just the unique ins and outs of the C.H. Moore Homestead and DeWitt County Museum. Opening the museum back up for the season. Any notes or anything worth getting into there, Joey?
Yeah, the opening day, that will be April 1st, and it's not an April Fool's joke. We really will be opening for the season on April 1st. And so those who come to tour the house April 1st or after will have an opportunity to see the new floors and how they've staged the house. I imagine there'll be some rearranging of furniture and whatnot. We're taking that opportunity. And then also when people come in April 1st, they'll have the opportunity to see the results of the Picture Perfect photo project. So more than 30 images were sponsored, and those will be on display on the gallery wall and then also possibly throughout the house, depending on how things go. But I do plan on having them all out so everyone can see them when we open. I think a lot of people are curious to see to take a look at these images and learn a little more about the county's history through this visual means. Also, I've been working diligently on writing captions for all of these images. I really enjoyed the process. Some of them are a little straightforward and not so difficult to research, especially if someone wrote on the back of the image in 1882 to let us know who's in the photo and what's going on there and when it was taken. In other cases, I was left maybe a few clues, but needed to go on and do some more research, to narrow down exactly what was going on here in the scene and when it was. And then some of them, it was a fascinating photo, but no clues written on the back, and just diving in, researching, and figuring out what was going on with that particular image. But we have a great collection of photos now, that. People will be able to see, I think we talked about it before, some of these images had been on display at the museum for quite some time and were falling to disrepair. Others have been tucked away in albums for years and haven't even seen the light of day. So really, really excited about unveiling all those pictures on April 1st.
So yeah, that should be really that should be quite the attraction. Not only the new floor, but that picture perfect project, and a lot really went into that, Joey. You know, and that's I know we talked about this in the past, but that was really an investment by the community in conjunction with the homestead.
It truly was. It truly was. I was overwhelmed by the generosity of the community in stepping forward and sponsoring so many images, and them taking an interest in the project. And, it just makes me feel good to know that so many people saw the value in preserving our history in this way, and that they were more than willing to step up and sponsor these things and help us get this project rolling and make it more successful than I had hoped. So I'm quite pleased about that.
Good stuff. Well, Joey, I'll tell you what, on that note, let's take a break and come back with some more. Where do folks go to learn about all things DeWitt County Museum, C.H. Moore Homestead?
They can take a look at our Facebook page, and the Facebook page is C.H. Moore Homestead and DeWitt County Museum, or they can go to our website. It's www.chmorehomestead.org.
Joey Long, director of the DeWitt County Museum and C.H. Moore Homestead, my guest on the phone today. More to come with Joey on The Morning Show.
WHOW.
Illinois Corn is proud to invest in Illinois Ag in the classroom, powering the next generation of Illinois neighbors who understand and appreciate agriculture. In Illinois, 78 paid ag literacy coordinators serve 87 counties, and your corn checkoff funds about 20% of each of the 78 positions. The Illinois Corn Checkoff's mission is to grow demand, create new markets, and foster understanding of corn farmers and the corn industry through strategic investments. Learn more online at ilcorn.org.
Breathing problems can affect every aspect of your life. Breathe easier with Gibson Area Hospital Pulmonology Clinic and Dr. Ismail Bobat, now providing pulmonology health services to DeWitt County at Warner Hospital in Clinton. Dr. Bobat is an expert at identifying and treating pulmonology health conditions. Get the right diagnosis and treatment for your breathing problem with an experienced pulmonologist. For healthier breathing, book an appointment in Clinton today. Call 217-784-2212.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Come see me, Jay Peterson, your Auto Owners Insurance agent at 117 West Main in Clinton, or call 935-6605.
Shane Steinberg here from Highway 51 Exchange, your equipment rental headquarters, south of Clinton on US 51. Check our banner ad on DeWittDailyNews.com to book online today and pick up tomorrow. Highway 51 Exchange.
Longview Community Bank provides real local ag lending. Vice President and Loan Officer Nate Sams here, asking you to find out the many ag lending products we can offer your farm by clicking our ad on the local news page of DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Joey Long, director of the DeWitt County Museum and C.H. Moore Homestead, our guest on the phone today. And Joey, you were telling me that already some special events planned for the museum in the new season ahead. What's going on? What's on the books?
Yes, so the events committee has been busy scheduling and planning events for the upcoming year, and it looks like we have some interesting things. So there will be, at some point in the spring, there will be an open house on a Sunday afternoon to show off that new floor and whatnot. So we're looking forward to that. And then they also are planning a a program, something along the lines of the history of honey. So it's a lady from the Hayworth area, and she has spent much time working with honey and using different honeys and coming up with different things. And so she's going to do a presentation on that. And then also in April, we are going to have Guy Fraker come. He's a dear friend of mine, and I'm happy to welcome him back to the museum. And he's going to be doing a presentation on Anne Rutledge and Abraham Lincoln. So I'm very much looking forward to that. He spent a lot of time researching this subject, has written an article or two about it. And so knowing that, I contacted him and asked if he might be interested in coming and doing a presentation about that topic at the museum. And he was very gracious and told me that he'd be happy to do that. So we look forward to having him coming in April.
Stupid question, Joey. Who is Anne? And I'm already blanking on the last name.
Rutledge.
Rutledge. Yeah, who's Anne Rutledge?
So she's the young lady who some say was the first to take Lincoln's heart in New Salem days, but passed away. And so she comes up time and time in history, but it seems often they only dig so far back, the historians. And some say that she truly was a sweetheart. Some historians disregard that thought, but Guy Fraker has spent a great deal of time looking into this and researching it, and he certainly has come up, with some new and very interesting information about this topic. So I think people will be interested in this. I know that a lot of people that know about Lincoln, or even school kids that that haven't, Anne Rutledge is something, a familiar name to people. But since there hasn't been that much digging into her story, it still kind of hangs out there kind of like as a mystery, a story that needs an end, or a story that needs more telling. And so Guy Fraker, certainly with all of his research, will be able to step in and fill that void. I think it will be a draw, not just for people in DeWitt County, but probably far beyond the county lines. Last year we had a few presentations that brought in so many people, not just from DeWitt County, but beyond county lines. And I think this is a topic that will really bring them in.
Interesting stuff. Very good. Well, Joey, I'll tell you what, that was anything else on that topic, or any other events to mention as we get into the new year already? Can't believe it's about that time.
Well, the events I just mentioned, those are the special events, but then of course we always have our annual events that they're planning for at this point. So, that would include the quilt show and Santa night, candlelight tours. I think they're going to bring back the carriage rides again. And then, of course, the big one, the Apple and Pork Festival.
Already planning for Apple and Pork, huh?
Already planning for Apple and Pork, already receiving flea market contracts. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's underway.
Well, Joey, what's kept you busy at the museum lately? Have you been researching anything, or is anything that you've rummaged through, caught your attention, and you've looked into, anything like that? I always enjoy asking that question of you.
Well, mostly what I've been working on here lately is the captions for those photos that we've reproduced. Some things are pretty interesting. For instance, in 1899, there was a circus here. A circus came to visit, and some of the things I found out about the circus were pretty interesting. And we, are fortunate that someone, not a professional photographer, but someone snapped a few pictures of that and then tucked them away into an album. And so we're fortunate that we have, this visual record of that event. And you can imagine the excitement that brought to town. Dancing elephants, 8 dancing elephants. My goodness. We see elephants every day in DeWitt County in 1899. We still don't see dancing elephants.
I was like, has much changed? I was not aware of this.
Yeah. And then I've learned some things, just some little odd side facts that I would never use, but that I thought were kind of interesting. There's one image, I just love it. It's a group of gentlemen on a horse-drawn wagon, and the lettering on the wagon says W.D. Sparks agent for the Lizzie Brewing Company. That's a beer company. And that beer company was started by some German brothers back in the 1800s, and then, grew and grew. And they specialized in making lager beer and Budweiser beer. And they marketed it as Budweiser beer. Apparently that was a type of beer before Budweiser was actually a brand. So I'm learning, a little bit about the beer world, and doing this. And then my research also takes me into the car sometimes. So, all right, so I know that this house, according to what she wrote on the back, was at the corner of this street and this street, but she doesn't tell me which corner, So you get in the car, and you might be lucky enough to, hold the picture in your hand and let it go, yep, it's this house right here. Or in this case, you might be unlucky enough to say, oh, yeah, that's where that parking lot is right there. I see it now. But, I just love the sleuthing and finding out new things. And it's nice to have these photos and to see the pictures. That's one thing. But with me being able to put these captions with what is the story behind the image, that makes it all the more valuable and makes the experience much more enjoyable for visitors, I believe.
Very good. Well, Joey, always good to talk with you. Best way for folks to keep up with all things DeWitt County Museum and C.H. Moore Homestead, and it really sounds like we're in for a whale of a year when the museum reopens in April. Where do they go for all the goodies?
The most current information they can find on the Facebook page, C.H. Moore Homestead and DeWitt County Museum, or they can visit the website. That's www.chmoorehomestead.org, or give us a call at the museum. We're close to the season, but there's usually someone there, 217-935-6066.
Joey Long, DeWitt County Museum, C.H. Moore Homestead, our guest. Network News is now.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason.